What if Santa used modern technology against the Grinch? What if Santa Claus abandoned his traditional sleigh and reindeer for cutting-edge technology? What if, instead of relying on magic and ancient traditions, he embraced drones, AI, and modern warfare tactics? And what if this technological revolution came at the exact moment when his greatest enemy, the Grinch, launched his most devastating attack on Christmas? Welcome to a story where holiday cheer meets high-tech warfare, where the North Pole becomes a military compound, and where the fate of Christmas hangs in the balance. This is the story of how Santa's tech upgrade turned a simple holiday heist into an all-out war. Act 1. The modernization. It started 3 years ago when Santa realized he had a problem. The world's population had exploded to over 8 billion people. Children were staying awake later. Security systems were getting more sophisticated, and his reindeer, bless their hearts, were getting older. Rudolph himself had developed arthritis in his left front leg. Something had to change. Enter Nicholas Claus Jr., Santa's tech-savvy nephew, who had just graduated from MIT with degrees in robotics and aerospace engineering. "Uncle Nick," he said one evening in the North Pole workshop, "you're running a global logistics operation using medieval transportation. Do you know what Amazon could do with your resources?" Santa stroked his beard thoughtfully. He'd been delivering presents the same way for centuries. But young Nicholas had a point. He was struggling to keep up, and every year it got harder. Climate change was making weather patterns unpredictable. Urbanization meant more apartment buildings with complicated security. And don't even get him started on Ring doorbells. "What did you have in mind?" Santa asked. Nicholas pulled out his tablet and swiped through a presentation. Drone delivery systems. AI-powered routing. Quantum computing for the naughty and nice list. 3D printing for last-minute toy production. We could revolutionize Christmas. Mrs. Claus was skeptical. But what about tradition? What about the magic? The magic is in the giving, Martha Nicholas Jr. argued. Not in how we deliver. We can help more children, be more efficient, and maybe give the old man a chance to sleep past 4 a.m. On December 26th, Santa made his decision that night. The North Pole would modernize. The transformation was remarkable. The reindeer were given a comfortable retirement with full benefits and unlimited carrots. The old wooden sleigh was placed in a museum. In their place came a fleet of specialized delivery drones, ranging from tiny package-sized units to massive cargo drones that could carry hundreds of presents. Each drone was equipped with stealth technology, thermal cameras, AI navigation systems, and could operate in complete silence. The workshop got an upgrade too. 3D printers worked alongside the elves, who were retrained as drone technicians and AI supervisors. The nice list was now maintained by a quantum computer that could process behavioral data from every child on Earth en route. Machine learning algorithms predicted what gifts children wanted before they even wrote their letters. Santa himself got a high-tech command center that looked like something from NASA Mission Control. Holographic displays showed drone positions across the globe. Real-time weather data streamed in from satellites. He could monitor every delivery with crystal clarity. But in his mountaintop cave overlooking Whoville, someone else was watching these developments with growing interest. The Grinch had always hated Christmas, but this new technological Christmas offended him on an entirely different level. It wasn't just the noise and the feasting and the singing. Now it was the constant buzz of drones, the artificial intelligence, the cold efficiency of it all. Christmas had become corporatized, mechanized, and in the Grinch's twisted mind, that made it even more worth destroying. Act 2. The Grinch's counterattack. The Grinch wasn't stupid. He was, in fact, remarkably intelligent. Years of isolation had given him time to tinker, to invent, to scheme. If Santa was going high-tech, then so would he. Using scraps and stolen equipment, the Grinch built his own workshop in his cave. He studied Santa's drone patterns, hacked into old North Pole systems that hadn't been properly secured during the upgrade, and began to formulate a plan. He wouldn't just steal Christmas this year. He would hack it. December 1st arrived, and Santa's operation launched perfectly. Drones deployed across the globe for early deliveries in remote areas. The system was beautiful, elegant, efficient. Santa watched from his command center with pride. Everything ran like clockwork. Then, on December 15th, things started going wrong. A drone delivering presents to a village in Norway suddenly veered off course and dumped its entire cargo in Tokyo. 3 drones collided in midair, showering a busy intersection with teddy bears and toy trains. In New York City, an entire fleet of 20 drones simply shut down and fell from the sky into Central Park. Santa's technical team worked frantically. "It's like someone's overriding our command codes," said Bernard, the head elf programmer. "But that's impossible. Our encryption is military grade." Nicholas Jr. pulled up the system logs and his face went pale. "Someone's in our network. They've been in here for weeks, mapping our systems, learning our protocols." "Who could do such a thing?" Mrs. Claus asked. "Santa knew immediately. The Grinch." The attacks escalated. The Grinch, from his cave, was conducting cyber warfare. He released a virus that corrupted the nice list, causing the quantum computer to categorize everyone as naughty. He sent fake delivery coordinates that sent drones to wrong addresses. He even managed to reprogram some drones to return to the North Pole, creating a massive aerial traffic jam. But the Grinch wasn't satisfied with digital sabotage. On December 20th, he emerged from his cave in a vehicle of his own design, a heavily modified garbage truck equipped with an electromagnetic pulse generator, signal jammers, and a massive cargo bay. Max, his dog, sat in the passenger seat wearing a custom-made helmet with targeting systems. The Grinch's plan was elegantly simple. He would drive through Whoville and surrounding towns, using his EMP to knock out every drone in range. The signal jammers would prevent Santa from sending reinforcements, and he would catch the falling drones in his cargo bay, stealing all the presents, just as he'd always dreamed. It worked beautifully. Town after town went dark as the Grinch's electromagnetic pulse fried drone circuits. Hundreds of units fell from the sky, and the Grinch caught them all, cackling with glee. Act 3. The confrontation back at the North Pole. Alarms blared. Santa watched in horror as drone after drone went offline. His beautiful system was failing. The Grinch was winning. "Sir, we've lost contact with 40% of our fleet," Bernard reported. "Whatever he's using, it's devastating our electronics." Mrs. Claus put a hand on her husband's shoulder. "Nick, maybe it's time to go old school." Santa shook his head. "The reindeer are retired. They can't make the trip anymore." Nicholas Jr. stood up from his workstation. "Then we fight technology with technology. Uncle Nick, remember what you always taught me about Christmas? It's about adapting, about finding a way to bring joy no matter what obstacles stand in your path. What are you suggesting? We go on the offensive. We track him. We stop him. And we show him that technology isn't about replacing Christmas spirit. It's about amplifying it." Santa stood up, his jaw set with determination. For centuries, he'd been the jolly gift giver. Always smiling, always kind. But the Grinch had crossed the line. This wasn't about stealing presents anymore. This was about destroying the very infrastructure of joy itself. "Bernard, activate the Omega Protocol," Santa commanded. The elves gasped. The Omega Protocol was a contingency plan, something they'd built but never thought they'd use. Hidden beneath the North Pole was Santa's personal transport, a single massive drone unlike any other. It was faster, more powerful, and equipped with defensive countermeasures. It was painted crimson red with gold trim, and it could fly. Santa suited up in a reinforced version of his traditional outfit, complete with smart fabrics that could withstand extreme temperatures, and a belt equipped with every gadget Nicholas Jr. could design. He looked like a fusion of Father Christmas and a special ops commander. "Martha, hold down the fort," Santa said, kissing his wife. "Nicholas, you're with me. We're going Grinch hunting." The massive drone, which Santa had named Blitzen, two, in honor of his favorite retired reindeer, roared to life. Santa and Nicholas Jr. climbed aboard, and with a blast of propulsion, they rocketed into the night sky. Using satellite tracking and heat signatures, they located the Grinch within an hour. He was parked in the town square of Whoville, his truck overflowing with stolen drones and presents, preparing for one final sweep of the area. Blitzen 2 descended from the clouds, its landing creating a whirlwind of snow. Santa stepped out, his boots crunching on the frozen ground. Citizens of Whoville peeked out from windows, watching the confrontation unfold. The Grinch turned, his yellow eyes narrowing. Well, Santa Claus himself. Come to see your precious technology fail. Why? Grinch, Santa called out. Why do this? I know you hate Christmas, but this is beyond stealing. You're trying to destroy it entirely. The Grinch laughed bitterly. You replaced magic with machines. Old man, you turned Christmas into an algorithm. Where's the spirit in that? Where's the humanity? You've become exactly what you always warned against. You've commercialized, mechanized, and sterilized everything that made Christmas special. Santa paused. There was truth in the Grinch's words, painful as it was to admit. You're right, Santa said quietly. I got so caught up in efficiency that I forgot what matters. But destroying Christmas isn't the answer. Help me fix it instead. Help you, the Grinch snarled. Why would I ever help you? Nicholas Jr. stepped forward. Because you care, Mr. Grinch. You care so much about what Christmas should be that you were willing to destroy what it has become. That passion, that belief, that's exactly what we need. My uncle made a mistake, but it's not too late to correct it. The Grinch was taken aback. No one had ever acknowledged his feelings before. They'd always just called him mean, small-hearted, cruel. But this young man understood. He cared too much, not too little. What are you proposing? The Grinch asked, cautiously. Santa smiled. A partnership. You're clearly a genius inventor. Your countermeasures defeated my entire system. Imagine what we could do if we worked together. Technology with heart. Efficiency with tradition. Science with spirit. Act 4. The New Christmas. The Grinch stood in the snow, considering. Max nudged his leg, and the Grinch looked down at his faithful companion. The dog's tail wagged hopefully. Even Max seemed to think this was a good idea. I want full creative control over redesigning the drone aesthetics, the Grinch said. They're too sleek. They need character, personality, and we bring back some of the old traditions. Not everything needs to be optimized. Santa extended his hand. Deal. They shook on it right there in the Whoville town square. The citizens emerged from their homes, applauding cautiously at first, then with growing enthusiasm. Cindy Lou, who, now a teenager, started a chant. Save Christmas. Save Christmas. Working together through the night, Santa Nicholas Jr. and the Grinch began repairing the damage. The Grinch's technical knowledge of the vulnerabilities he'd exploited helped them patch every security hole. They reprogrammed the drones, giving each one unique characteristics and quirks. Some wobbled slightly. Some hummed little tunes. They were imperfect, and that made them perfect. The Grinch insisted on one more change. Bring back the reindeer, not for the main deliveries, but for special cases. The sick kids who might not make it to next Christmas. The families going through hardship. Those deliveries should be personal, magical. They should see you arrive the old way, with jingle bells and hoofbeats. Santa's eyes misted over. That's beautiful, Grinch. Yeah, well, don't get used to it, the Grinch grumbled, but he was smiling. December 24th arrived. The new system launched flawlessly. Drones with personality delivered presents efficiently, but charmingly. Rudolph and the other reindeer, who'd been anxiously watching from their retirement stable, were called back into service for special deliveries. They pranced with joy, their old spirits revitalized by having purpose again. The Grinch rode alongside Santa on Blitzen 2, helping coordinate the global operation from the air. His knowledge of systems integration proved invaluable. When problems arose, he solved them with creative solutions that combined old-fashioned ingenuity with cutting-edge technology. In Whoville, the citizens watched the sky fill with dancing drones and the occasional streak of a sleigh pulled by reindeer. It was different from the old days, but it was also different from the cold efficiency of pure technology. It was something new, something better, a fusion of tradition and innovation, heart and mind, magic and science. Conclusion: Christmas morning dawned bright and clear. Every child woke to find presents under their trees. The operation had been a complete success, more successful than any Christmas before. In Santa's workshop, now redesigned to accommodate both elves and machines, both tradition and technology, Santa poured 3 cups of hot cocoa. He handed them to Nicholas Jr. and the Grinch, who had stayed at the North Pole to help with the post-Christmas analysis. 2 partnerships. Santa toast to finding balance, Nicholas Jr. added. To Christmas with character, the Grinch concluded. They clinked their mugs together. Mrs. Claus appeared in the doorway, smiling. The thank you letters are already coming in by email and traditional mail. The children loved the personalized drones. They're calling them helper elves of the sky. The Grinch had officially been named the North Pole's Chief Innovation Officer. His first project was developing eco-friendly propulsion systems for the drones. His second was designing a petting zoo at the North Pole, where children could visit the retired reindeer. His heart, as the saying goes, had grown 3 sizes that day. Santa looked out the window of his workshop at the winter wonderland beyond. Technology had almost cost him Christmas, but it also brought him the most unlikely ally. The Grinch had been right. Christmas needed heart. But Nicholas Jr. had been right too. Christmas needed to evolve. The key was finding balance, and sometimes it took a crisis to show you the way. So what if Santa Claus used modern technology? What if he faced his greatest enemy at the height of his technological transformation? We learned that innovation without tradition is hollow, but tradition without innovation becomes stagnant. We learned that sometimes your greatest enemy is really just someone who cares deeply but has been ignored. And we learned that Christmas isn't about how the presents arrive. It's about the spirit with which they're given. The North Pole hummed with activity, a perfect symphony of old and new, magic and machine, heart and technology. And somewhere in a cave above Whoville, now equipped with high-speed internet and a home office setup, the Grinch worked late into the night, designing next year's improvements, a smile on his formerly grumpy face, and Max sleeping peacefully at his feet. Maybe, just maybe, Christmas technology could have a heart after all.